The Philadelphia Phillies are red hot. They now have a 5.5 game lead over the Mets in the NL East. They sweep the Rangers down in Texas to start this road trip. They still have 7 more road games coming up, but they start the trip with a 3-game sweep down in Texas, 9-1, 3-2, and 4-2. The pitching staff just absolutely dominated. So far in August, they started the month with 7 consecutive starts of 6 or more innings. That came to an end yesterday, 2 days ago, when Zach Wheeler didn't get through the 6th inning. So a nice streak for the entire staff to start the month gets ended by Zach Wheeler, who's been the best pitcher on the staff this year. He hasn't been his best self his last few starts, but if you go 5, give up 2, and that's a bad day for you, that's why he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. We also got to see Duran pitch in 2 more games in this series, a save in Game 2 and Game 3. I just can't say enough about this guy. Cannot say enough about this guy. A game changer for this team. I am so happy in hindsight. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about Duran and the staff a little bit more deeper. But the fact that we were able to get this guy, who I think now that I'm watching him in this on a team this good with expectations like this, pitching the way that he is, I think he's the best pitcher. He's the best closer in baseball. He's the best closer in baseball. The only reason Mason Miller has a little bit more value, cost the Padres a little bit more, is because he's got more years of arbitration there. I think this guy's better. I do. Maybe I'm a little biased there. Maybe his adrenaline's just a little bit pumped up with the new team, but his couple of outings with the Phillies have been, he is flat out, no exaggeration, unhittable. He's unhittable. It's incredible. But here's the key for this team. They get the sweep down in Texas. We're getting serious contributions from the pre-arb and arbitration players. First and foremost, our guy Harrison Bader robbing home runs has been a difference maker in the outfield for this team. Brandon Marsh, Bryson Stott, Edmundo Sosa are all absolutely ripping the leather off the baseball. Brandon Marsh in particular, got to tip my hat to him, has been one of the best hitters on this team since he came back from that injury 2 months ago now. He's had a near 900 OPS for about 6 consecutive weeks now. He is just absolutely smashing baseballs. And even after the addition of Harrison Bader, we're seeing him come in and out of the lineup a little bit. He's been pinch hitting great as well. Brandon Marsh doing it all for this ball club right now. And with Harrison Bader in center, we've talked about this on other podcasts, Brandon Marsh in center field is an average at best defender. In left field, he's a positive defender. So you now have a Gold Glove caliber defender in center field in Harrison Bader, who brings more offense to the table than a guy like Johan Rojas. You get to put Johan Rojas down in AAA, let him season up a little bit. And now you have Brandon Marsh sliding over. He goes from an average defender to a plus defender in left field. So this goes from a terrible defensive outfield to a pretty good one. A pretty good one when Marsh and Bader are out there at the same time. But on the offensive side, when these guys are chipping in offensively around Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper at the top of the order, that's what makes this team so dangerous. That's what makes this team so scary. That's why teams load up on lefties when they play the Phillies. Because if you can try and limit Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper, usually that's how you beat them. When these guys are hitting, when Brandon Marsh and Edmundo Sosa and Bryson Stott are chipping in, this is the best team in the league. When they're getting arbitration contributions, they are right there with the Dodgers. They're right there with a loaded Met, where the Mets are clicking. They've been awful lately. Not going to talk about that. We're definitely not writing them off here. By the way, we got a 3-game series with the Mets at the end of the month. We have a 4-game series with the Mets in September. So let's talk a little bit more about the NL East in particular. Like I said at the top, 5.5 game lead. The Mets are melting. They've lost 9 out of 10. I believe they've lost the first game in 6 out of 7 series or something like that. I read a stat like that online today. Jolly's been absolutely getting drugged through the mud by this Mets team. The Phils currently, I said, with that 5.5 game lead, they have 7 more road games on this current road trip. 3 of those games against Cincinnati, but then you get a 4-game set right down the road against the Nationals, a team that they have absolutely dominated going back to pretty much immediately after they won the World Series. They won the World Series, and ever since that day, it has just been a Phillies utter domination between those two teams. Not only do you have a 4-game series against them to end your road trip before you come back home, 7 of their next 13 games overall are going to be against these Washington Nationals. So, a prime opportunity to push yourself even farther away from the Mets in August. September's where things are going to, we're going to separate the playoff teams from the you'll be golfing in October teams come September. But if they go into September with a 6-7 game lead, they are in a prime opportunity to still win the division if they don't play their best baseball. But going back to last year, and we've seen how last year ended, I was just talking about this with some people around the office before I came in here. Winning the division is great. The less amount of wins that you need come playoff time is a win. You're shooting for that division title. I'm not saying that you don't want to win the division, but it is not the ultimate goal. And we have seen this team win the division, take those few days off. They're not playing their best baseball in September, and we don't see them play to their potential in October. Now, I've beat this dead horse a million times. The Mets are just a bad matchup for the Phillies. That playoff series last year, I'm concerned about it possibly happening again this year. They have a bunch of very good, crafty lefties, not just good lefties. To be specific, the Mets are very good at baiting teams out of the zone. One of the things that their pitching staff has been the best at in baseball over the last year and a half, it's getting teams to swing outside of the zone. Kodai Senga, one of the best pitchers in the league at it. He gets you chasing pitches off the plate, that ghost fork, locating the fastball in the corners and then dropping that ghost fork just off. It is an entire pitching staff made up of making you chase. And we talk about it all the time with this Phillies lineup. Sometimes the discipline is the issue. You see them chasing that slider. I'm sitting on my couch. It's an 0-1 count, and I'm already like, it's going to be 1-2. He's going to get him on a slider down and away. Sometimes this Phillies lineup can be predictable like that. And the Mets have one of those pitching staffs that pitch their finesse pitching team. They get you to chase, they pitch the contact, and that's how they beat you. It's a weird matchup. They're not playing great baseball right now, but they have to sharpen it up in September. If they're playing the way that they're playing, the Phillies and the Mets are both playing the way they're playing right now come October, I will be as confident as they come, but things can change very quickly in baseball. That is still a very good Mets team. 5.5 game lead right now. You have a 7-game road trip against two teams that you should, at the bare minimum, win 4 or 5 of these 7 games you have left on this road trip. You got 7 out of 13 against the Nationals. Then at the end of the month, hopefully at this point, you're already up 7. You get a 3-game set against the Braves. You get a 3-game set against the Mets. You can get yourself situated going into September. But then in September, where we're probably going to know at this point how things are going to go, we have a 4-game set with the Mets in September. Thankfully, those 4 games are going to be played in Citizens Bank Park, so we will have the home field advantage for that, and we are currently looking like we are going to be set up. So, the NL East, looking like it's going to be the Phils. Great sweep in Texas to start the road trip. Let's recap the 2025 Dave Dombrowski. Has Dave Dombrowski cooked? The answer is yes. Joan Duran has been an incredible addition to this bullpen. As we know, I think he's the best closer in baseball. This Phillies bullpen, since he got here, 2.18 ERA, that's 6th in baseball, 2nd in the National League. Their opponents are batting 143. The Phillies bullpen has a whip of 0.68. They're only walking 5% of their batters. Every stat I just listed is first in Major League Baseball. Striking out 30% of their batters, 4th in Major League Baseball, 1st in the National League. Strikeout walk percentage, 24%, 3rd in Major League Baseball, 1st in the National League. Duran has shifted everyone into place. You can go back to the 2022 team that won the NL and went to the World Series, and then you can go all the way back to 2008. It has been since Brad Lidge was here, in my opinion, no disrespect to Jonathan Papelbon, it has been since 2008 where we had a legitimately good World Series caliber team with a locked-in closer. This is our 9th inning guy. He's not coming out in the 7th. We're not going to be playing matchups in the 8th inning. This is our closer. We are trying to win 8 innings, and then you lose if we're up. We have that guy. It's been since 2008 we had that kind of guy, and it has pushed everybody else into the proper places. Now, here's the kicker. What's crazy about this is David Robertson and Jose Alvarado are still about to join this team. You're about to get 6 more weeks of this staff plus 2 more options. And we know how good Jose Alvarado has been this year. He's not going to be on the playoff team. He is ineligible for postseason baseball. But down the stretch, he can definitely help this team out. David Robertson seems his velo's ticked up slowly. He's getting into his, he looks pretty normal now in AAA, but probably going to see him in the big league soon. These are 2 elite options that have pitched in the postseason that are getting added to what already might be the best bullpen, at least in the National League, and then Aaron Nola as well. Then you're also going to be able to think you're going to be able to maybe use Taijuan Walker in a stretch role, or maybe Jesus Luzardo is an extra lefty in the bullpen later. This pitching staff is as deep as I have ever seen a pitching staff. Dave made this team better defensively with Harrison Bader. Rob Thompson is pressing all the right buttons. My biggest concern when we got Harrison Bader, and the reason I said that I didn't think it was much of a needle mover, is because I thought we were going to just platoon him. And he's a reverse splits guy. You can't platoon a reverse splits guy. It doesn't make sense. He's hit righties well this year. But since those first few games, it seems like Harrison Bader's getting into more of an everyday role. When Kepler gets his name called, he's hitting. When Brandon Marsh gets his name called, he's hitting. Thompson's pressing all the right buttons. Dave seems to have hit the right notes. This team is winning baseball games left and right, and the teams they're worried about are dropping like flies. So this is all going great. We're righting the ship. We're going in the right direction right now. Things look great. So I got to give a big shout out to Dave Dombrowski. Duran's a game changer. Bader's a game changer. We have both of them under team control for next year, so they're still going to be in the mix. These are not rentals, and you kept your top 3 prospects. You still have Andrew Painter, Justin Crawford, Aiden Miller, and the rising Aaron Escobar, who's shooting up the prospect ranks just like Tait did last year, just like Caba did last year. Those 2 guys got us Jesus Luzardo and Johan Duran. We got more guys shooting up the ranks. We're doing the little things that this team didn't do in the 2010s. The organizational depth, it's there. This team is set up for now success and future success, and that's what I love about the culture and the direction that this team took when they signed Bryce Harper. I'm very excited for the rest of this second half. Things are trending in the right direction. I'm more excited about next year's team than I was before the deadline. These pickups that we made are not just helping us now. It's opening, the window is much bigger now. And I love it. Make sure you guys are following Cherry Pinstripes on Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're watching. Go check us out on the other platforms. I believe we're up to 7,000 friends on IG now. The IG gets crazy. We post several times a day, highlights, recaps, all that fun stuff. So go check us out. And I will see you guys next week for another Phillies pod. I'm out.